Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Savannah Smiles. With the holiday season upcoming, I think it's really important that we talk about this, and while I've been scared or ashamed to open up about this for a long time, I think it's important that we do that because around the holidays for a lot of people this gets worse, including myself, and I'm just hoping maybe someone could relate to this. I've wanted to open up about this for a long time, but my feelings and feeling ashamed definitely has held me back. I know I've said this several times on my channel, but I really struggle with showing emotions that are not positive. Over time, I found this channel to be a great creative outlet, but when I first started it, I wanted to entertain people and let people forget about what's going on in their personal lives and their hardships. YouTube was this great spot when I was going through hardships to click it on, watch a PewDiePie video, and for 10 minutes of the day, my hardships didn't exist, and I wanted to pay that forward to the platform that had given that to me. Because of this, I struggle with showing emotions on my channel that are negative. I know a lot of people, especially last year, told me that my channel was providing them with a great escape, and I never wanted to take that away from them. Outside of the channel, I struggle in person to express to the people around me when I'm not feeling 100%. There's a few reasons why I struggle with expressing these things, but part of that is due to mental health. There are a lot of times where I'm totally fine and I'm functioning just like everyone else, but there's also times where I'm very overwhelmed and don't even feel up to leaving the house. I didn't know why for a very long time, but at the beginning of everything in 2020, I started to get super panicky, and my boyfriend suggested I see a meditative therapist. Through many therapy sessions, we discovered I had an anxiety disorder. Yes, this is diagnosed, and no, it is not diagnosed by me. I'm actually diagnosed. Looking back at my life, I definitely think I struggled with this my whole life, but I did face certain things in my personal life that made it worse, and I got past a point where I could deal with it by myself. I honestly think that it was mild enough that I was flying under the radar as a nervous Nancy or a big overthinker, but those certain events that happened definitely made it worse, but I don't want to make this video about those events. Since finding out I had an anxiety disorder, there's a lot in my life that has made sense, and I've learned a lot about myself and why I do some of the things I do. I remember much of my life, but especially high school, obsessively worrying over small issues much beyond where a normal teenager or normal self-conscious teenager would. And I remember thinking to myself, how does everyone else deal with feeling like this? How do they deal with these thoughts? And spoiler alert, everyone else wasn't feeling this degree of anxiousness that I was. I remember for much of my life, but especially from my sophomore, junior year of high school until getting diagnosed, thinking I had asthma or a heart condition because I couldn't figure out why I would get these random attacks of feeling unable to breathe and my heart rate suddenly spiking. I also have always had this issue with sleeping, whether it was just falling asleep or staying asleep. I really struggled to actually get in my 8 hours of sleep. Now, looking back retrospectively, a lot of this was when I was extremely anxious, and I would wake up for 3, 4, sometimes even 5 hours at a time, completely unable to sleep with racing thoughts. Even last night, as of course the day I'm filming, not when this is published because these are going to be different days, but I woke up at around 3, 4 a.m. last night and was up for 3 hours because I'm anxious over getting all the work that I need to get done before going on vacation. There's a lot more about me that made sense, and there's a lot more symptoms I experience, but I don't really feel comfortable getting too in depth with that. I know inevitably by talking about this, I'm gonna get someone in the comment section who's like, well, everybody deals with feeling anxious. And while that is 100% true, and I'm not invalidating anyone else's feelings on feeling anxious, people with anxiety like myself experience anxious feelings differently. For me, when I get anxious, it feels like I'm stuck on one of those merry-go-rounds at a park. I get stuck in these loops, as me and my therapist like to call it, where I get stuck in a thought and I keep spiraling with my anxiety, causing that merry-go-round to feel faster and faster and faster. The longer I'm on this metaphorical merry-go-round, the worse I feel. It feels to me like somebody is, like an elephant, is standing on my chest. My heart feels like it's beating so hard, it's slamming against my rib cage. And it feels like my everything in my whole life is about to fall apart. While the normal person might only experience this a couple times in their lifetime when something extremely serious is going on, for people with anxiety, and in my own experience, this is something that happens pretty frequently. And I have looped, as we call it, over very minute things in the past, including irrationally believing someone hates me when maybe they were just busy and didn't get back to me for a few days. Sometimes it gets to a point where I recognize that I'm having this anxiety attack over this issue, which in retrospect is not that big of a deal, and then it makes me anxious, and then it kind of drives this cycle. If that sounds exhausting, that's because it is. It's very exhausting. This is something I've experienced a lot in my life, and I have been working with a therapist to recognize when I am on this merry-go-round and how to take a step back to avoid completely spiraling or getting stuck in loops. While I'm nowhere near perfect at it, in the last 20 months I've seen a lot of improvement in my life and also with my anxiety. I've gotten a lot better at explaining to people around me when I need a second to step back and collect my thoughts and to calm down, and also to explain my feelings a little bit better. While having anxiety sucks, I've accepted it is a part of me and a part of who I am. Not everything with having anxiety is bad. I know that for a lot of my friends with anxiety as well, we have noticed that we're extremely observant, and we often catch things around us and pick up on cues that maybe other people don't quite. While I'll never be cured from my anxiety disorder, it's been extremely helpful to have a good understanding of what's going on with me, and extremely helpful to learn how to cope with it. Even though I may still struggle with it, I definitely have the tools now to be able to properly handle it. I wanted to open up about this because I know the feeling of being overwhelmed and feeling like you can't handle it. Also, with the holidays coming up, historically it has been a time of year where mental health gets worse. You're traveling, your work schedule gets worse, you gotta go see family, you have a whole bunch of obligations, your work schedule gets crazier, and different items like that. So I wanted to open up about it to let you know that I understand and I get what you're going through. It's really important to reach out to those around you when you're struggling and you need some help. You aren't alone, and if you need to go to therapy, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's actually a great thing you can do for yourself. Please, if you feel like your mental health is slipping or you aren't doing well, there's absolutely no shame in going to therapy or reaching out to those around you to get help. Your mental health is important, and understanding what is going on with you is also extremely important. So if you do need help, don't hesitate to reach out to a therapist or a friend or talk to somebody. It's better than keeping it bottled up down inside. But anyways, that was the video. Kind of terrified to put this out here because I know even a lot of people in my life don't exactly know that I struggle with this. But ultimately, I think it's going to do more good than harm to let everyone know that I understand, and to tell people to please go get help if you need it. If you like my typical content, I know this is very different from my typical content. Usually I'm very just fun and try to entertain you guys and give you guys a little bit of an escape. If you enjoy my typical content, definitely subscribe, because I'm starting Vlogmas in 2 days from when this video will post. So yeah, if you want to see just fun vlogs, then definitely subscribe to see that. And with that said, don't forget